Not fair. Bucky man, can you hear the theme song? Just shake your head or nod your head if you can hear the theme song. You can't. Okay.
I'm gonna get mine. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're all been down. When you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown. It's your fool, bitch. So just step back. I'm a mad dad when I come down straight. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. I'm back on the scene, it's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly dis, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises all the time. Don't cross the line, and you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
There's a military helicopter going over my apartment.
Huh!
Huh!
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. It's almost the end of March. And you know what else it's almost time for? It's almost time for the April 5th gathering the Mad Hatter is going to be doing. Isn't that right, Lefty?
Yay!
I
Dad
barely
bar.
heard that meow.
Really?
Yeah, barely. Yeah, that's like a distant wow. But yeah, while Lefty takes care of that on April 5th, the Mad Hatter will be doing another garden party of sorts, a gathering. Dab bars, I assume, consumption on the offsite area, and plenty of great products and hopefully some discounts and sales. Please come by on April 5th to the Mad Hatter to join us for some fun and festivities and hopefully a live cast and much more.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a food truck here.
Oh,
Tacos.
taco.
Tacos. And they'll be here all year. Oh,
Good.
yeah. Tacos all year. I can go for tacos all year. I can have dinner here every night.
What, they're gonna be like? They're gonna post up outside the dispensary every night.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I might actually come out for a dinner for just that reason. That's very good. That's a draw to a dispensary other than the weed right there, which I like. I like a reason to be able to loiter around for a little bit.
Well, how about a food truck festival? Does that wet your whistle?
I don't like how you describe that, but yeah, it definitely piques my interest. You gotta get Empanada Guy. I actually right over next to across from the shop right where Woodbridge, the Air Wellness in Woodbridge is. I used to run the Empanada Guy food truck over there. Their lobster empanadas. Wow.
Yeah, so we're gonna have tacos here for dinner. All the time.
That's not the first time that's been said at that place.
Yeah, well, we can play that game a lot today.
Yes, we can. I
There's
think
a
that'll be an interesting game to see which food truck is least applicable. You took the condom off the. Did you? I can't tell.
no, look what they did to my microphone.
Oh yeah, if you can't tell, they've put a condom on Lefty's microphone, and he's decided he's just not going to interact with it other than to show other people.
Yeah,
I don't know. They made a joke earlier about censorship. I thought that was like comically stupid. um, that's definitely a thing. There's good comically stupid. There absolutely is. Like hey, Lefty, my friend Matt told me a joke recently. I want to know what you think of it. Why do you think the migrants are avoiding soda right now, or would like warm soda?
Why?
Because they're trying to avoid ice. Still very faint. Can't really hear that one that much. I told that to my best friend Amanda. She laughed and then hung up on me. And then called me back 5 seconds later, but still just as a point. Good stuff. Bear, what are you doing? What's going on with you?
Nothing over here watching some cartoons, chilling out.
What you watching? What you watching?
I watch give me 2 seconds. I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, you're good. I get those.
Young Justice.
Okay. I'm a big Justice League guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah.
You heard George Lowe died recently, right?
Yeah.
And the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah. It was somebody else who passed away too.
I
can't think right now because I get him popping up on my news feed all the time.
It was an actor. He died with his wife in his home, I think, if that's who you're thinking of. Gene Hackman.
Yeah, no.
A lot of greats went recently.
Yeah. A lot.
Do you watch Invincible at all?
Who?
Invincible?
Yes, I started watching it. I think I got like 3 episodes in.
Some good stuff. I've definitely enjoyed the expansion, how the superhero genre has expanded itself into more than just DC and Marvel.
Yeah. It reminded me of the other show that they have on there. That's not a cartoon. What is it? The Boys?
Yeah, that one's just too sociopathic. I couldn't get into that one.
I got into it, but I had to stop watching it after a particular episode. I was like, okay, you guys just getting wild. I can't. Like when he grew up the Invisible Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, this is wild.
There's do you watch One Punch Man?
I love it.
Did you see the trailer for season 3?
No, I've been dying for season 3.
Garrow's my boy. Garrow's the dude. He showed up at the Heroes Coalition where they're gathering. He said, "Y'all look weak. killed like 5 people and then slaughtered everyone else and said, I'm going to come back in 6 months even stronger. See ya.
That's the one. You watch One Piece at all?
One Piece.
Alrighty then. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Since we doing that, since we got a little bit of time, and we doing that. Give me 2 seconds. Turn my cam on. How do you flip the thing?
The little rotator, the arrow thing.
Where is it at? That's what I'm trying to find.
It should have like a picture of your camera and then arrows circling it, or like a little rotator like motion.
I'm on my phone. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw it. No, it's not there. Nope, that's not it.
Flippy.
Okay, we got this fixed in here now, I think.
Whatever.
Ah. Yes. Very good. Very good. Love that. Love that little setup there. That little case you got there with that thing. That thing's awesome. Very cool. Oh, you got all those frames. Those are cool. I like the little terrariums you got set up for your those are cool. Those are cool.
Yeah, I make those.
Hang on, you'll appreciate this.
Nice. Give me a close up again. I got you full screen.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can really see it.
Look at that. The tinyism, the gremlin, the booze.
The Mona Lisa on the wall.
I love it. I love it. It's all awesome. The craftsmanship is incredible. I love it. The cigars at the ass.
Aw.
That's peaceful. I like that. Very serene.
It lights up too.
Oh, shit.
And it goes in the dark.
That's dope. Lefty,
Yes,
let me get the
sir.
camera real quick. Check this out.
Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on.
Walter!
Hi, Walter.
Pissed. Shut the hell up.
That was perfect.
Where is it?
Who the hell cares?
He says a bunch of those little sayings.
I love it. Yo, check that out.
Oh, that's dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I got this at a con a couple years ago. This is one of my favorite pieces. Uncle Ruckus as the Colossal Titan.
Now that is dope.
Yeah. Super cool.
I've always wanted to get into that crafting of scenery for miniatures. It's definitely got a lot of appealing aspects to it.
Yeah.
Do you have any cannabis tapestries that you can loan me for a few months?
The what?
Cannabis tapestries. I want to fill the room with tapestries. Cannabis
I don't
themed,
have
of
any
course.
cannabis tapestries. I definitely have. You should order one of those. One of these from Kino Clade 9.
What's that?
It's a nug. I call him Nugless.
That's hilarious.
They gave him a little hat,
Nugless.
glasses.
Brown.
He looks Amish.
Oh, he's ugly. Huh?
Yeah, thank you. We get a lot of traffic here in the studio.
The studio traffic.
People selling weed over here in the window. I got to close the window because they're selling weed out there and you can hear them. They're like, fishmongers? Well, they're weed mongers here at Mad Hatter. Weed mongers.
Smell. One is more pleasant than the other.
People throw weed at each other out here. It's great. Flying across the room. There's just weed flying everywhere. Wild. I just got hit in the face with a bud. Ow. That's not a bud. That's not a bud. What this is. There are things here I don't know what they are. I don't want to know. Flaming Anus chocolates are still here. Nobody's taking me up on the offer to eat some Flaming Anus chocolate.
Gee, I wonder why.
I was about to say the same thing.
You get a gently used pre-roll. Who wouldn't want that?
A gently used?
Yeah. You
pre-roll.
hearing this, dude? Let me break this down for you, Bear. This is a chocolate equivalent to when you go to like Cluck You Chicken, you're like, yo, I want those atomic wings. And they're like, all right, well, you got to sign a waiver first. No, they're not asking you to sign it. He's not asking you to sign a waiver. And he's saying, you eat this, and he's not saying it now, but he's going to get a Polaroid or something of you with your face beet red, tears coming down your face, mucus running out, looking like a fool. And he's going to take a picture of you with that, but you're going to get a gently used pre-roll. That's creepy. The word gently with that.
Yeah, that's
Gently used.
worth it.
It is worth it.
You go first.
Yeah, I said like the only instance I said I would find acceptable with this chocolate is if at one of these events he got a bowl of like Encore chocolate and like other cannabis chocolate and mixed it in with there and just said, "Hey, take a dive." That would be funny. This is not. This is just here. Eat this and suffer.
And no.
That's like the birthday cake game. You ever see the birthday cake where
Oh,
you have a nice
God.
birthday cake with icing and it says, "Find the toenail" on the top of the cake?
No.
I double back to you have a lot of audacity to tell me that there's something wrong with me for the joking instances, but you sound very serious about your toenail in the icing.
It was a meme.
It's a meme. We did this before. This is
Just
not
reporting on the meme.
you can't excuse things like that. Is that what everyone at the White House is saying right now? No, it's this thing is a meme right now. Us sharing national security secrets over Signal. Now it's a meme. So it's
I use
okay.
Signal. Signal's great. I use Signal all the time.
Yeah, and you should be definitely a validation point for national security purposes. Absolutely.
Plans. Kidding me?
Motherfuckers flex emojiing to bombings of I don't care who. Don't flex emoji of bombing.
Yemen. They bombed Yemen. And I didn't even know we were at war with Yemen. Wait, when did we start fighting Yemen?
I didn't know we were at war with Venezuela, and apparently they don't know either.
Yeah, when are we at war with them now? Like, how did we get at war with all these countries?
Trump.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I'm rooting for Canada, honestly. I love the attitude when you got a leader that's going to come up to the opposition of this and say, like hockey, we're gonna win, and then make a bunch of hockey references. Go ahead, kick ass, awesome. Like that's showing your grit right there.
The USA did lose this year to Canada.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Is that loud? Can you hear that one?
What?
Can you hear this one?
Even less. Probably
really?
Not at all.
Bear, can you hear it?
A little bit.
A little bit. Wow, it's not loud. I hear it loud here. That's
what did you do to your sound setup?
Something's wrong. I know. I got to figure it out. All right, here, let me figure it out. Sheesh. It's always something. It's all of them, though. It's not just one
I
of
just
them.
look. I go there. I look under your table. There's just all the cables are leading into this one giant knot that you just cannot tell where one cable is coming from, and you're just relying that all of them are plugged in.
Yeah, you never know.
We
They
call
play
it the
pranks
Mad
on me all the
Hatter
time.
knot.
You should see the stuff they do to me here. I told you, Bear, look what they did. They put a condom on my microphone.
That's reprehensible. That's
Look at that.
and the fact that you haven't taken that off yet is a problem.
I'm not touching it.
You like
You-
it?
Bear, do you know why? Let me tell you the stupid reason why what they gave me, why they put it on there. You ready for this? Censorship.
What are we censoring?
But I don't. Stupid.
You confused. Like, what the fuck? If you can figure it out, let me know.
There's this old podcast story I always loved that that's Ricky Gervais's producer was talking about what he got his girlfriend for Christmas one year, and he says, I didn't want to do anything crazy, so what is it? I got her a 2-pack of condoms. Hi Marina, how are we doing?
Hi, Marina. Hi, Paco. What's going on?
Wow.
So Bear, I don't get to talk to you often or much. What have you been up to lately?
Going through a divorce.
Ah, that's not fun.
Not at all.
No.
But whatever. Good. That's
You
about it.
gotta put yourself first,
Yeah, I just been keeping busy. You know how that go.
Amen. Keep yourself busy and stay involved with the community. Marina, I'm glad you're good.
Smoking my weed.
Yep. What are you smoking right now?
Cereal milk.
What's your favorite strain?
Ooh, if I had to pick a favorite strain, it would be Pink Rosé.
Pink rose. That's a very specific one. All right. What you like the kind of like bubbly, giggly kind of feel?
Oh hell yeah!
Love that.
That open mental feeling that you have, where like you just everything just goes away. You just feel
We had at the garden party a couple weeks ago. Lefty can attest to this. He'd probably like the pineapple donut of their what do they call it, Lefty? Your gourmet selection.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just had before something new. I'm going to go out and smoke some in a minute.
what you got? You sharing?
It's the white label that they have here.
Oh,
White label.
Yo, give me some samples. Don't be ignoring me.
Come to the event on the 5th. Last time at the last garden party, they had hits out for people to take.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there was free weed at the last party.
And
dabs,
we
free
had
dabs. Yeah.
we had vibrators thrown at us, so that was
Yeah, I'll play those kind of games, but okay.
Lefty had a wonderful experience with a person who wanted to make a return at the beginning also.
Okay. Maybe we can hear that now or another time. I don't know.
I think Lefty will choose if he wants to share that. It kind of traumatized him a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Maybe now or maybe later. I don't know.
We don't need to talk about that.
Maybe later.
Maybe never.
It sounds like somebody pulled their peen out on you.
You're getting warm.
They hit you with the peachy deal?
The peachy deal.
He ran up on you with a peachy deal? With
The
his peachy
peachy deal.
I'm gonna scream.
He ran with his peachy deal out. What are you doing? Ah! I'm not like that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Hey, Ed, you got to stop looking so inviting.
Blame the victim. Okay,
Yeah.
that's.
You were wearing something sexy.
I'm victim.
Look at the way Lefty was dressed. He was asking for it.
Yeah. I told you about wearing that shirt open like that.
I like the idea that Lefty takes this completely seriously. The next day comes in wearing like a very conservative, like button-up shirt, and just like
Right.
no one's going to objectify me.
With some baggy slacks on.
No.
Everything loose. Everything loose. You will not get a print here, buddy.
It's just grabbable clothing.
Grabbable clothing. Great. Yeah, that's all I need.
You gonna go in
No,
there?
all you need is some Fleece Johnson character coming in and making and finding you inviting. That's the last thing you need.
Oh God.
Yeah, you got that reference.
He gonna go with his MC Hammer pants on, his whole MC Hammer outfit. Shirt buttoned all the way up.
Now, when I see a man's I likes, I tells him, I likes you, and I wants you.
And that tells him.
Wait, what did he say?
It's that, what was it? It was when Chris Hansen trying to get the drop on him, and he says, he's like, "Oh, I know who you are, Mr. Chris Hansen. Now I'll tell you something else. When I see a man's I likes you, and I wants you. Now we can either do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours."
Boondocks. Hilarious.
That show I love. It's incredible. I don't know if as much people would love it and watch it. I don't know if it could survive in this day and age. That being said, like I there's just so many aspects of that show you couldn't change for this day and age. Like Riley, you can't change Riley because of the current climate and anything like that. You just can't.
Yeah. Him being a badass little kid.
It's like
Like
I can immediately see people taking issue when he's like, "You gay?" Like that's the first thing that comes to mind of people taking issue.
Yeah, man, you
That's
that's a
I really most of all want to see what's his name Onceler come out again and just y'all looking at.
Oh my God.
Love him. He's just insane, ignorant rage.
It's too many characters that's gone that can't come back. Like John
Thugnificent. What a name. Thugnificent. Your hair is like done up like a friggin' Cabbage Patch doll. Like, what the hell? Love that shit. That's just funny as hell. There's so many. We lost him.
Lost him. Last night we went to Edison, and I had a sign war with the video guy. It was pretty funny.
So what happened at that meeting? I saw the post. I didn't get the chance to look at what happened.
This is funny. Here, let me share the screen here. This is some good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Can you hear this?
I'm okay. Why am I changing the camera system tonight to have my sign shown? Because the camera angles are now back to the way they were. You guys just don't get it. You keep treating symptoms.
Sorry.
You're good.
Keep treating symptoms and ignore the disease. You ignore the disease. I can't chase the camera. I can't chase the camera. The only one who seemed to thoroughly understand this issue since I've ever got to Edison was Councilman Richard Brescher. I don't understand why you guys don't realize what you're doing is just creating more problems. Changing the camera systems back, making me chase the camera system so I could have my sign here that says the BA is full of BS. Calling multiple lies, lying about compliance over here, saying that a survey was done. What survey? Now the township's position is that the law firm after the fact doctored up some compliance by saying that the building was ADA compliant because it was built before the ADA law? This is acceptable? If I say flag ban again, If I point out the fact that Joe Coyle banned the flag, is he going to cut me off for the 4th time? I've never seen someone so triggered by the word flag ban. When you have one time it's an incident, 2 times it's a repeat in behavioral pattern, 3 times constitutes chronic chaotic disturbances, which is the same term that this administration gave out to the media to talk about our activism. We were evolving into chronic chaotic disturbances, which is what Councilman Coyle, I'm not even going to call him Councilman Coyle, Joe, that's what Joe did. So triggered. And then the video within 24 hours has 100,000 hits all over media platforms. But we're not going to correct the problem. I mean, whether you're good for public service or you're just a politician, that's one debate. But does this man even have the self-control to remain composed? I mean, this is absolutely, you know, I go on someone like Councilman Brescher's Facebook page. I see him with posts trying to fix issues, trying to correct issues. That's what's good for public service. There's public service and there's politicians. And politicians are no good for the taxpayers. They're no good for nothing but trying to advance their own political, financial agenda. I had multiple people reach out to me within the last 2 weeks telling me about Councilman Coyle, telling me about Joe being a bully, and he's been this way ever since high school. So I'm gathering content, and I'm going to write a truth piece. I wanted to hear more about these bullying instances, but everybody seemed to want to talk about Jade Dynasty Restaurant, all these other issues. But I learned a lot without even asking, because there's not a lot of people who support that kind of behavior, you know. And for a councilman, repeatedly, you got my name, Joe. The township got my name in the form of a tort claim. So you got it. And it's got nothing to do with respect. Actually, it does. You don't have the decency to respect my rights. You feel challenged when I come up here and remain anonymous. You take it that personal? That is a gigantic issue. You can't respect my rights. So yeah, it is about respect. You are incapable of respecting my rights to come up here and remain anonymous. You know what that's protected by, Joe? The First Amendment of the United States Constitution, the New Jersey State Constitution, the OPMA, Supreme Court rulings, back over and over, heavily protected. And you think it's a thing about me not giving respect? Why not try to correct the issue? Same 4 people that banned the flag are the same 4 people that took away our minutes, who didn't want to give it back. So keep treating the symptoms and ignore the disease. How great has that been working out for you? And did Richard Brescher ever get answered by the constitutional lawyer? Because this is absurd at this point.
Thank you, sir.
So,
What's up, Vinny?
What's
How are
going
you?
on, guys?
Vinny, how we doing? Before I dive in with you, I just want to say, I mean, this again, I applaud, continue to applaud Lefty and everyone who continues to show up there, and it continues to make me sad and angry to see the minimal priority that is being shown to these issues. The fact that you have to chase down cameras, it's very apparent that they're taking steps to undermine your message, whether it be shifting the cameras, cutting your minutes, or something. And I would Lefty, I would like you to let me know when the next meeting, and if I can get a time with you to speak, because I would like to just put that all on the floor and just say there has been this, and this. These are apparent instances where you are specifically, either one or all of you are specifically orchestrating to undermine these people's message, and a message that I identify with and agree with, and this is frankly unacceptable.
They violated Vinny's rights last night. Here, I'll play the video. We can comment.
I thought you played it already. I didn't realize you didn't.
No, let's play it now. Is this working? Oh, no, this isn't working.
Is it working? No.
Hold on.
Lee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Vinny, how we
Yeah.
doing
How
otherwise?
about-
Otherwise, I'm doing all right. I can't complain. This is another day. I mean, I'm sure you heard about the harassment in in Union City. So,
Well, I'm gonna watch this video and I have a comment I'd like to make on
Does
that.
the
So
lawyer
let's
run
see.
the
Sure.
meeting,
All right, here we
or
go. We got it
do you
going.
Run the meeting, Margot Harris, because it seems like he likes to tell people to do things before he bounces back at you. Joe, we missed you last time. We were all waiting for you, but I got something more important first, so I can actually play this now.
I'm gonna go around, but I have to be a bitch about it.
Can you suspend his time, Marlon?
Would you like my husband to come here and talk to you?
Okay.
So we can do that.
I'm sorry, sir, but this case has been adjudicated. I'm going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to stop.
Litigation is over.
Litigation is over, but at this point, this is harassment. This is a
No, it's not.
harassment.
No,
It is
this is something
harassment.
that happened in these chambers.
This is my judgment, sir. This is the judgment I'm making, and I'm going to ask you.
He's
I'm
not
going
a
to ask
judge.
you
That's
if
right.
you don't stop, I'll ask you to sit down. You'll forfeit your time. All right.
It's not harassment.
Your time is forfeited. You need to sit down now.
It's my time.
You need to. I'm telling you,
It's
you
my
need
time.
to sit down. You need to sit down.
Listen to this. It's a limited form. You guys, council president.
yes, limited. Let me talk.
He's. You're asking him to sit down.
I'm asking you to sit
You're
down.
asking him to sit down. Please sit down.
So you want to leave a room?
I'm asking you to sit down.
Did I just blow it? I just ruined it.
That's all
What
right.
did you do? I
happened?
saw, but let me
He gets
just say
kicked
this.
out.
What happened?
He got kicked out. I'll fix it.
In the video or of the video?
It was absolutely ridiculous. The police came and they were going to arrest him for speaking, for playing the minutes
So-
of that meeting. It's crazy.
Let me make a point here because I've been I don't get to bring this position I have up often enough, and I feel like in this day and age we need to use every power we can to fight what's going on. And I'm going to make this aware to all of you guys and also assert my points with my values in this situation. I'm a notary of the state of New Jersey. I'm a licensed witness of the state. I am to affirm actions and things that have gone on before me, whether they be official documentations or proceedings. What I am witnessing right now is, like I said earlier, an attempt to take every little attempt, whether it be subtle or great, to undermine a message that is either not of their belief or could compromise people within their staff due to wrongdoings they committed. That is wrong. And as a notary, I am going to say right now, and I'm willing to go, Lefty, I will come with you to a town council meeting and say this and take my position on this. I am noting that this is unconstitutional, what is happening right now.
Come tomorrow.
Tell me when, and I will be there.
Tomorrow, 7:00, Edison, New Jersey. Let's do it. Can you make it?
Tomorrow at 7. I'm gonna get back to you on that. I have to look at my count. I don't want to sound like I don't want to do this, but I might have a commitment tomorrow at around 3 or 4. But I tell you right now, if not tomorrow, the next one I will be there. This needs to be brought to an official stance, and I will research whatever I need to file to bring this to light. Because if no one else with an official capacity is going to do this, and I'm going to take whatever power I do have to advocate this, because this is getting silly. And this is not what we need in this climate right now.
Not at all.
We don't need enablism. We don't need our most needy and vulnerable being made more vulnerable and unable to live their day-to-day lives. I was just speaking to one of my advocates today, and I was telling them it is criminal that a person born with disabilities essentially has to forfeit so much of their time to sitting on the phone with health insurances, the state, different forms, different mechanics that keep them afloat. And that's just an consensual thing they have to sign away about themselves because they were born differently.
I agree, man. I agree.
So I am going to talk to the person I have an arrangement with tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the very next one, I will be there.
Sounds good, man. I mean, the more the merrier, because we're only stronger in numbers, you know?
Amen. Amen.
I mean, that's really all we got. I mean,
You guys tell me exactly how much time I'll have to speak. I will prepare something up. And
so let me explain the incident a little bit more. So, I'm sure you know, Christo had some litigation pending for him on this VASPA order. He wasn't allowed to come to council meetings. He wasn't allowed to go to the police station, even if he had to. So he was barred from coming to, I believe it was like 4 or 5 meetings. And, there was an incident that happened, and I wanted to play the incident that happened in council chambers. I wasn't able to the first time. I wasn't able to. I was playing the recording. I wasn't able to because she said it was under litigation. The next meeting, I had the report. I tried to read off the report. She said I can't speak on it because there's pending litigation. And then this meeting, now they're claiming I can't talk about it. Now litigation's over. They can't talk about it because now I'm committing the act of harassment.
Does that, I don't mean to interrupt, but does that mean you can't speak about it? I mean, I would think you can speak about it knowing they will not speak back. That's your time. Is that not your right to do? So where you could say, all right, you don't have to speak back because I wouldn't trust anything you have to say anyway. So here's what you are not allowed to do, whatever. That just really bothers me.
The crazy thing is when it's the public's time to speak, they can. I mean, it's in their rules that I can speak about anything as long as I'm not harassing.
Right, and it doesn't matter. They can't say no. You can't speak about that because it's under litigation now.
Hello, everybody. I want to add to that. And so, number one, they tried to do that to Scalzo in Union City when he was reading criminal complaints that Mayor Stack and Chief Anthony Piccini did against me during a public meeting. They told him, you can't read those. And of course he could. And he should have kept reading them. They don't control you. Just because they tell you to stop, do something, don't do it. Now, Vinny, again, I was proud of you. You took it the furthest I've ever seen you yesterday. And again, you're new to this. And as I've said to Vinny and anyone, you do not have to take an arrest. Once in a while it's strategic. But you always push the envelope until they say, when you ask the question, if I don't leave, will you arrest me? If the answer is yes, then under protest, I move on. But they cannot censor what you say and say, pending litigation, you can't talk about it. As you were saying, I'm not sure who was saying that, but you were right on. And they may not be able to say anything about it, but you can say anything. And now they're trying to get Vinny now, as you were saying, Vinny, now since it's been adjudicated, now it's harassment. Bull. The thing is, I tell everyone, stop or don't ever let them tell you what you could do. Just because they tell you to turn off a recorder, don't turn it off.
And Leroy, I was just saying to Vinny, because I brought up something I haven't brought up before. I am a licensed notary of the state of New Jersey. I'm a witness of the state of New Jersey. And what I am witnessing right now happening within these proceedings is unlawful. It's underhanded. They're taking subtle to extreme measures to undermine anyone's message that they either don't agree with or find that would damage members of their committee.
Right on.
It's reprehensible. And I told Vinny, whether it be tomorrow, I have to check because I have a prior commitment going on tomorrow, or the next meeting, but I am going to go there and make a statement as a notary and say I am witnessing a lot of ill-mannered and unconstitutional behavior happening here to a group of people and groups of people who are just trying to spread awareness and take action towards some things to anyone with a morality compass that isn't a roulette wheel would be able to see is wrong.
Right. That is wonderful. That's awesome. And you're right on. And one thing I have issue with too is not a single councilman or councilwoman stood up for the rights of Vinny, including Richard Brescher. He didn't stop them and said, Mayor Margot, you need to stand down. We have a constitution. I am going to protect his rights. If you arrest him, you're arresting me too. So keep going, Vinny. I want to hear the rest of that recording. That's what he should have done.
Well, I mean, let's see what happens, because I'm going to bring up, because Brescher at the last meeting was talking about we should have a First Amendment lawyer. And I think really we need to have a First Amendment lawyer.
Not when you have a councilman. I mean, yeah, that would be great, because most of them are terrible at protecting your rights and our rights. Because I've spoken at the meetings too, and they attempted to shut me down. And however, Brescher doesn't need a constitutional lawyer to say, Margot, shut the hell up, stand down. I'm protecting Vinny's rights. You don't need a lawyer to do that. He knows that.
And also, just to add, it's a sad state that like town council meetings used to be one of the more welcome places where people go and feel like they can make some point of their voices heard. Is it going to ultimately climb the chain? No, but they know those people are going to play the game and advocate for people. The fact that there is such a fear right now, let's even focus on the fact that there's people being threatened with arrests for coming to these council meetings, and the topics that they're being threatened with arrest for are not violence. They're not abhorrent. They're not controversial. They're, like I said, things with anyone, and that anyone with a basic moral compass that isn't a roulette wheel would agree is wrong. So I think, again, like Leroy was just saying, I hope he comes back. Vinny, I hope you keep pushing on this. And there are lots of creative ways I'm learning that this can be tackled.
Listen, I must have missed some really good shit here. You got to let me know in the playbacks, Uplifty. It's like I missed the beginning of the show, but there's a repeat performance coming. Well, Vinny, it sounds like you got drafted.
Well, why don't you maybe when Lefty comes back in, he'll play the video again, because it kind of got cut off.
No, I'll find out later. But it just reminds me. It's like I know enough to know that you were kind of moved into this position, like somebody getting drafted into this, getting sucked into the vortex by what I saw last time that you were showing us. And it always reminds me.
This is a different town now. This is a different town now that we're talking about.
Yeah,
that one was Union City, where Leroy.
I've seen all that. So it's like the fact that there's multiple games, bad phrase, bad metaphor, multiple things going on, in multiple municipal meetings, that says it's probably systemic throughout the rest of the state, because there's 566 municipalities. Can't keep track of bullshit going on in all of them, but I imagine there's quite a few more left.
And you know why it happens? Because there are no watchdogs. We are literally the only watchdogs in the entire state of New Jersey, and really in the country.
And Leroy, I'm glad you brought that point up, because I made a post about this yesterday. I want to know your thoughts on the new attorney general that we got for New Jersey that was appointed.
Oh yeah, he just posted a video on her. So hell yeah, go ahead, Leroy, take that.
Yeah. So Alina Habba is her name, and she's one of Trump's main personal attorneys, and I'm pretty sure she's the one I saw when he was defending against the sexual harassment cases. And again, I'm not saying I'm sure or not, I don't know, but I remember, if that's the same woman, which she probably is, I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, she is phenomenal. She is sharp as a tack. She's aggressive in all the right ways. and assertive. And my team and myself have been trying to reach her already since yesterday. We want to sit down with her. That we all of us here are literally corruption ground zero for New Jersey. She doesn't have to do any major investigation initially to find threads. We've got them. We got them in Edison. We got them in Dover. We got them in Union City and Hudson County and all over. So literally our team needs to meet with her. And I say our collective team here ASAP, because that's what she needs to start her investigations.
Now, let me ask you, Leroy, I absolutely trust your read on things. And, I definitely think you're thinking in realms that I'm not thinking of. But the one thing that immediately pops to mind is if she's a Trump appointee, we know how that kind of game plays out. So can we really expect a full serious entanglement of the corruption here without some sort of right side kind of buddy system going on here?
That's something that, again, there's no way me or you can know that. However, just looking at things we know and some of the things underneath the surface, like I know how some of the sausage is made, shall we say, that Governor Phil Murphy and Attorney General Matt Platkin are allocating millions of dollars and a commitment to stop Trump's initiatives. Now, I'm not political. I'm not for Trump. I'm not against Trump. But just looking practically, from inside people, Trump is pissed off, I've heard, because he doesn't want his agenda thwarted. And so just that from a practical standpoint, that there's ideally some heads are going to roll, politically speaking, metaphorically speaking, of course. So the proof's in the pudding. We're not going to know. Again, I want to meet with her. She said in her short, very, very short statement yesterday that she wants to go after corruption. That's one of the top 3 things. And so we're ground zero. We're exposing corruption headquarters here.
Yeah,
I love an open-minded attitude. That's good.
I maybe I'm late to the game, but it just doesn't seem like it would be anything in particular that would affect Trump's anything. In other words, and if anything, rooting out corruption is what he's all about. So I would think I would in myself take a fresh look at her as is this something that if it wasn't for Donald Trump, if it had nothing to do with him, is this something she could sink her teeth into? And it sounds like from what you're saying, she could.
Or this, but I'm just sharing like full spectrum information. Now, let's go back to when Jim McGreevey was governor. And
anybody else we could go back to?
No, and this has connections to Trump.
Well, I got a history with him.
All right, so yeah, I have a new one with him. Corrupt.
I had a meeting that didn't happen because 6 days before our meeting, he outed himself and wasn't taking meetings anymore. Son of a bitch.
And the
4
thing is,
years trying to get a goddamn meeting, and he probably did that because he didn't want to meet me.
Oh yeah, totally. And the thing is, him outing himself. God bless him. He's gay. It doesn't matter. I got many gay friends. But that was not why he resigned. He was going to get indicted.
But perception counts more than reality in this case. Though.
Right. But that worked for him because that made him salvageable politically, because instead of getting indicted, he announced he was gay. And
that he's still around. I'm thinking of contacting him and saying, "You owe me an appointment." Oh, he'll remember. He will.
Well, he may, but here's the thing with
he not may. He will. I got some really cool pictures. It'll strike his mind. His daughter, Mara, wherever her name is, was sitting there looking at my wife and me while we were talking. And he'll remember it. So, but this is worth the price of the podcast already tonight.
Oh yeah. And here's more. This gets really crazy. Is that Jim McGreevey was made, some of the people who made him, I don't remember one name, but the other was I think it's Charles Kushner, Jared Kushner's father. He made Jim McGreevey. He helped him become governor. And then he also helped to bring him down, I had read. However, guess who pardoned Charles Kushner? Donald Trump.
I was going to guess Chris Christie, and I thought, no, he's the one that helped convict him. Never mind.
Yes. So
It's a
just to
joke.
give some,
It's a joke
but
here. What? You're a tough
but
crowd.
I am hopeful and optimistic, and I will always be. And there's many people who have become even more cynical lately, saying, "Oh, nothing's going to change." Well, then, goodbye. Get out of my life.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
I'm
you.
here to win it. Is it easy? No. If it were easy, we wouldn't have corruption, or we would just do one Facebook post or YouTube video. God, they're indicted. FBI took them out. You know,
It
politically.
was the same thing. Well, when I was at the start of COVID, when I was like, can't wait till we get back to, open people talking to each other, whatnot. And everyone would say, there's no going back to that norm. Really? Well, with that attitude, of course not. There's no going back to any sort of that. If you just say no, like, come on.
Right. And everything's a choice. I choose to relentlessly continue my strategies and actions to investigate and expose Stack until he gets indicted, period. My choice. No one can stop me from that. But when people get cynical, well, nothing's going to change, and I see this on Facebook sometimes. Oh, it's never changed before. Well, then you would have been the people who would have said in 1776, King George, he's got a giant army. He's a freaking king. We got farmers here with some muskets and pitchforks. Nothing's going to change. They're King George people. I have no time, no interest in them. I have 3%ers. That's who I want to work with, which is why we're all connected here.
You're describing something I experienced that I call it a self-fulfilling prophecy when people say, "Oh, you're not going to have an effect on that. It'll never happen." But that's why nobody tries it. So if nobody tries and they say it's never going to happen, they are creating their own self-fulfilling prophecy. That's bullshit. You're right about that.
They're buying into the fear of the dictator. Well, you can't overcome them because they may retaliate or kill us.
Okay, that's also something that appeals to what I call lazy people, because it's like, oh, well, then that would be the right move. I don't have to do anything. Basically, just stay out of the way. So it's lazy thinking that, and I think it's really just gets ingrained in people. They take the path of least resistance. It goes for a lot of people until it's really important, or you're really scared about something, or really pissed off about something. Then you start to see the light.
And it's as far as staying aware to these issues, there's a fine line to be drawn between being cynical and being hyperbolic, like Leroy was saying about being cynical. Cynicism comes when you've been proven that you either can't trust someone or rely on someone or a concept over and over again. Hyperbolicism is basically just catastrophizing and making the worst out of any information you hear. And I think, Leroy, I credit you to being more professionally cynical to these issues and the approach to these things rather than hyperbolic like some can be.
Right. And the thing is, the only people who have ever made change, there was a quote by Margaret Mead, and something that a small group of people committed to an outcome, I'm paraphrasing here, a small group of people committed to an outcome will always change the world, and it has always been like that, period. And then you also, you grow your base, but dictators have only been brought down in tyrants throughout history because there were a brave few men and women who, and mostly men, historically, who were willing to sacrifice their lives to end those regimes, and they have again and again and again. And that people
look what happened in South Korea last half a year ago, where they were they declared martial law and unconstitutionally, and all the lawmakers flooded to the hall, even though it was closed. They ran there just to make a petition vote or something. I don't know what it was called, but that's what you got. That's what he's talking about. It's people doing whatever they need to do to fulfill their duty to uphold the systems that keep these checks and balances and rules and standards in place.
Right. And politically getting rid of the tyrants, the bullies, and the corrupt dictators. And I'm willing to do anything, I need to do, all within the law, of course, and peacefully. However, there is talk. I've gotten chatter from high-level people in state government that was local. There's talk about taking me out. And this is New Jersey. That's not pie in the sky or dramatic. It's it's just practical. And so
yeah,
Let's hope that
doesn't-
doesn't happen now with this Trump appointee now. You know,
well, they're not going to say, "Oh, there's a Trump appointee." They're going to
Well,
take me out with with a crackhead or something. They're not
I'm
going to take me out
sure
with a
you're on the
politician.
radar. I'm sure you're on the radar, and I'm sure your name is coming up to her. I'm sure of it.
I maybe invest in one of those small body cameras you keep on you at all times.
Oh, he's well equipped.
Good.
Hey,
I'm glad.
thank you, Leroy, for joining us. I hope you can stick around for a while. We have our special guest is here with us tonight. His name is Stephen McCoy, and he's got a story, boy. I tell you, I'm going to let him talk because he's got a heck of a story. We were inducted together at the Lions Club. That's how I met you. And he's an activist, but he's way more than that. And Stephen, I'll give the floor to you. You take it, bro.
All right, before you start, Steve, I actually do have to go now, but I will watch this on the once it's online. But I'm glad I could join for a bit, and I appreciate each of you. Again, Vinny,
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you yesterday, man. I have never seen you take it as far as you took it, and that's growth. That's evolution. And you've done this a fraction of the time that most of us have done this. So
good job, Vinny.
You pat yourself on the back, man. I mean,
Thank you. Like I said before, the first time I was at the Edison meeting, I didn't even have a camera. Lefty, you were there. Leroy, you were there. I didn't even have a camera, so that's where I started, and here I am. So thank you.
Bingo.
I appreciate that.
All right. God bless you. I'll see you all later.
Take it easy.
Stephen, I'm excited to hear your story. I've had a hype build up about this, and I'm very excited to hear from you. It's first of all, I just want to say it's an honor. I've heard you're very qualified. You have quite the story to tell. So please take it away.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Very glad to be on here. I was here for a little while, and do you guys light up the podcast? I mean, it's really great. My name is Stephen McCoy. I am from North New Jersey, and I am a journalist and an advocate and activist, a disability and human rights advocate. And I just use my platform to be able to spread awareness. I made history as the world's first Black deafblind journalist. And it's sometimes kind of weird when I actually, reflect on that or even say that, because the field of journalism have been around since the 17th century. And to be able to make history in the field and be recognized with that is just amazing. I got in my start with the Walt Disney Company, and I would say that was my first paid internship, by the way, because I did it consecutively, various internships for 5 years consecutively, and Disney was my first opportunity to move out of North New Jersey, and I moved to Orlando, Florida, where I worked in entertainment and did various things, and it was such an eye opener, no pun intended. I'll get to the story, but it really just broadened my horizons. And when I moved to Florida, I just met so many different people from all over the world. And me being a person from an urban environment where there wasn't a lot of knowledge, or a lot of awareness, I should say, a lot of knowledge, yeah. And I would get teased a lot as a child. I would tease a lot because I wore hearing aids. I would wear the hearing aids around the ears. Now, the hearing aids that I do wear goes inside of the ear. But that caused me to develop selective mutism, where I didn't speak at all. I was just way too fearful to speak. And it actually caused me to repeat the same class, because if you're not speaking and no one knows what's going on, then although I wasn't only bullied by my peers, but I was bullied by some of my teachers. And I know that's really bad, obviously, but But that caused me to I started writing my thoughts and things on paper, which allowed me to process my thoughts and my feelings actually, and that actually what sparked my love for journalism. Moving into the future, I always wanted to be an actor, right? I still may pick it up one day. But the reason why I loved acting so much was because I can pretend to be whoever it is that I can be, and I've always spent most of my life hiding who I behind my disability. So even in the playground, I always apologize to my mother anytime that I speak about this because I will always take out my hearing aid and toss them in the playground. And I will purposely lose them because I just wanted to be like the other kids. I'll never forget when I was in kindergarten and this was my first time wearing the hearing aid and my mother, I told her like I'm very nervous, I'm scared. People are gonna see it, and she would just tell me like, no, no one's gonna even see it. No one, she was just trying to keep me at ease. Until literally a boy, I just remember him tapping me and asking me, "What is that? What is that in your ear?" And I never forget it burned my heart. It burned me like that. I knew for sure that I was different. And it was just a really challenging time as a child. Of course, I just went through the challenges, but I just want to just speed it up. When I started working for Disney as an intern, they loved me so much and they offered me a full-time position. And I told them that I could not accept the position because I had to choose. I had only 6 more months of school, and if I graduated school, I would have broken the curse of no other man in my family graduating college. So no one, as far as a man in the family, has ever done that. So I chose to break that curse, and I moved back to Jersey. I had only 6 more months left. I wanted to stay with the Disney company, so I picked up a job at the Disney store. And after 6 months, during those 6 months, I created something in the Disney store in New Jersey, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It was called Story Time with Steven. So I would sit on the floor with the little boys and girls. The girls would actually wear their princess dresses, and the boys would have their swords or their Mickey ears. And they literally, parents would schedule story time with Steven. It made such a big wave in the store where parents would actually come into the store and scheduling this, and the parents would just go off shopping while there was story time with Steven. The district manager heard about the great reviews, and when she came into the store, everyone was a little bit nervous because, and I've never met her at this point, and she was just asking me, what is it that I wanted to do with my life? I did tell her that, I had selective mutism growing up. I told her my story, and I told her that I wanted to use my voice. I really wanted to, I had a interest in entertainment and broadcasting, and that's what I was going to school for. And I got promoted to be a host for Radio Disney in New York. And that was definitely a life changing event in my life. That was the first time I was able to go on tour. So we went around just major cities and got to connect with the community, and I really loved it. That was the first time we had. So if you guys know, if you ever are in New York, in Columbus Circle, the ABC building, that's where the Radio Disney radio station was, and a lot of fans used to actually wait outside for us, and it was super cool. And I started working for Disney Theatrical. So I had two different positions at the same time, and that don't happen a lot. So what they did, they said that I made a mark within the company within the few years that I've been working with them, and I got inducted into the Disney Alumni Association. And I was super happy because for the rest of my life, I get a lot of Disney perks, with the tickets and everything. I know what you guys are thinking. Yes, yes, you're free to get a ticket if you like. We can go together, sure.
Well, the
But,
real question I have for you with all that is, do you have that what's it called, the Club 41 pass?
The 40 under 40? Is that what you're talking about?
No. What was it? I heard this story. They had this very exclusive club where like you could have dinner in like this. It's a small world. It's like a very. I'll have to look it up and send the link to you.
No.
But it blew
Yeah,
my
please
mind
do.
when I
Look, they did not inform me of that, but we do get a lot of great perks. Even with the character dinners and breakfast, I enjoy those little things. I'm really a corny guy, for real, for real. But it's been such a journey. And when I got inducted to the Disney Alumni Association, I just said, I have a lot of connections at this point, and I really wanted to explore and do more. So I started doing journalism for various media outlets, and I wouldn't say the problem, but the challenges started to arise with my blindness. So I've always worn hearing aids. Once again, from when I was about 5 or 6 years old, but they said that it was due to ear infection, which actually was not true. I found out later on that I have an eye disease that is called Usher syndrome. Usher syndrome is a retinal eye disease that causes blindness and hearing loss. And we had no idea because it was very rare at the time. And sometimes in urban environments, which I come from, especially with low income, you don't get a lot of those privileges to be able to get tested for further things. So that's why even today I do advocate for people who are trying to maintain their Medicaid. And I mean, a lot of people are in situations that are truly not their fault. A lot of people are not asked to be born into poverty and those sorts of things. So it is important and to be able to advocate for those things. But those challenges for me to start working for different outlets and working in the world of entertainment where people celebrate perfection and not imperfections. Although nowadays I've found myself in situations where you have PR firms that reaches out to you to try to sell those stories of how their client, may have had a miscarriage or may have had some sort of rare disease that they suddenly just don't have anymore or something like that. Because everyone is now looking for a story. I spent my whole life hiding my story, but people will buy these stories, interesting enough, which is very interesting. But it really became very challenging for me, where a lot of the media outlets, they just did not understand. People in the comments, if you go on YouTube now, you may be able to most certainly find older interviews of mine where people, even just recently, I did a thing with Lifetime, and someone spoke about my voice, and they said that how my voice is very unpleasant, but they don't know really the full story. I mean, I have a distinctive voice, which I don't like to talk when I'm going shopping or if I'm doing, grocery shopping. Because anytime I speak, there's always somebody that can actually recognize my voice, which is very interesting. But I created an entertainment media company called Spoken Entertainment, and I produced my podcast called Sessions with Steven. And I brought a lot of celebrities. A lot of people always ask, like, how did you get this person to be on your show? But I've interned for many years, and I'm so grateful that I've gained the respect of those individuals when I couldn't even speak with them. So whenever we did the outreach or whatever, they would be like, wait a minute, is this Steven the intern? Of course I'll do his show. So it became pretty much something, that sort of situation where the respect was there. And my show has become such a great success. I was able to bring sessions with Steven live, where I was able to go and tour and use my show to actually tour a different colleges. And I used the show to tell a little bit of my story, but still going through the fair. And people, they were very critical. But I was, again, if you don't tell people your story, if they don't know what the story is, because I would go to different events and I'm bumping into people. I'm kind of sliding down the stairs because I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know. And I went to the doctor, I went to the eye specialist because my family members had noticed that it don't seem like you could really see. And I was nervous, but I was diagnosed with the Usher syndrome. I was fine as far as I know, because a lot of people would come up to me like, Stephen, you are so strong. And I'm just like, okay, whatever that means, until the challenge is really, because it's a debilitating eye disease. So it gets worse over time. And I did attempt suicide. I just felt like it was over for me. I just kept feeling like it was my last days. And I'm so glad that I said to myself, there's only one thing that I never tried my whole life. I hid my whole life, my disability. And I said, I'm just going to give it a shot and tell the media that I do have Usher syndrome. And when I did that, it was all over the place. It was all over the news. I was invited to Washington, D.C., where I accepted the U.S. Challenge Coin for making history as the world's first Black deafblind journalist. And when they asked me what am I going to do next, my response was, people who paved the way for me, if you're the first to do anything, you have that power to set the bar as high or as low as you like. And I wanted to set it high. So that's when I established in my nonprofit organization, which is Spoken Heroes, which is the new chapter of my life where I'm able to, I write for Able newspaper. So I'm still able to do my journalism, but bring a lot of humanity to journalism. And now what's beautiful about Spoken Heroes, our mission is to bridge the gap between the able-bodied and disability community. And we do that through our program. And one of the programs I'm very excited about, I stopped doing sessions with Stephen simply because I was tired of asking, how challenging was it to create your fragrance? I'm going deaf blind over here. I don't really care about that, to be honest. So I just put a hold on it until I figure out what I wanted to do. And we're going to be relaunching sessions with Stephen in collaboration with Spoken Hero. But the spin on it is through the internship program, the journalism program that will allow students to be able to also get on the red carpet and do interviews and to be able to come on Zoom and do the Zooms with the actual celebrities at these award shows and those sorts of things. And I feel like the journalism field is giving me so much. So I feel the responsibility to give something back to others. I don't want to be the only one on the red carpet with a disability and the only one having to advocate. I want the PR firm to see more faces of disability, and it doesn't always it doesn't begin or end with hearing or vision impairment. There's so many different disabilities. So that is where I am now, and I'm very grateful and very happy, than I've ever been in my life, to be honest. So
Lefty, I can either start the response or be the last response because I'm going to go on for a minute. You tell me.
Well, I do want to say you do have a good voice, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess I'll just start here. Stephen, if you can't tell, I was extremely moved by your story. I'm getting. Yeah. I always say that you meet certain people at certain points in your life for a reason. And I've always found that when I encounter someone with a story like yours, as prolific as yours, I know that not only have I gained some knowledge, and a great amount of insight and perspective from someone who's accredited on many regards and goes through the ringer himself. It makes me feel less alone, but it also shows me the light at the other side of whatever I'm dealing with. So for that, I thank you.
Thank you.
You have an incredible story. I love the values I can immediately share with you, the sharing in your riches with other people. You don't want to just sit in your success yourself. You want to share other people out there. I love that. I identified so hard with your childhood story. As growing up with autism, I was basically told by my mother that I was going to be different, and it was just an expectation. And it's not. I can vibe with you on that. It's not easy. It hurts. So I definitely see you on that. And I was just blown away. You do have a very pleasant speaking voice. You have a wonderful heart and characteristics to you. And not only will I say that I am a person with disabilities that would like to do whatever he can to help you, but also that I very much have a skit in mind I'd like to put you in for an acting role on my channel, because I think you'd be perfect.
I would love that. I would love that so much.
My Instagram's on right below my name. Please follow me. We'll touch base. But that's my the
8-year-old little boy who's always wanted to be an actor is screaming right now, but I'm not gonna do so on this show.
I'm gonna type this out. It's gonna be great. But yes.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. And it's so interesting. When I made a history and it was on the blog, I'll never forget, I saw a website called Hollywood Unlocked, and it was so many people in the comments, and people were saying Helen Keller had come back as a Black man, and I didn't even know. I know it's so hilarious. But the thing is, and it's okay to laugh at it, but I didn't even know.
But you know what? You laugh at it after you take the minute to go, oh my God. Like, I do the same thing when my friends tell me jokes. I go, and then I laugh.
But you know what's crazy? I didn't even know who Helen Keller was. I didn't know. I do people's criticism in that space, because, again, I've been trying to run away from, blindness and hearing loss. I've been trying to run away from that. So I didn't even do research or anything like that. And I realized over time that everything that I was running from are things that I should have been running to. And I learned so much about Helen Keller. And, realistically, yes, she paved the way for me. So it's just now being in that position. Yes, I definitely want to continue to pave the way for other people. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. So 2 days ago, we did a beautiful anniversary fundraising dinner. And it was so beautiful because some of our heroes attended, as well as those students that are a part of our internship program. And to see them like that, from where they first started to them even speaking clearly and just projecting their voice and being confident, those are things that we actually worked on carefully in the classroom. And one of our students, I'm Kendall. I'm so proud of him. I saw so the thing with him, he had a brain injury, and he often forgets things sometimes. However, his passion is to work behind the camera, and we was able to allow him to be the photographer for the night. But you got to look at the beauty of that situation, and he did amazing. I can't wait until the photos are released. But um, someone who had the brain injury to literally having the passion for capturing moments, for memories and
with a
creating
complex device
memories.
like
It's just
a camera.
it's so deep. It's such a deep thing. And that was the same with me, writing down my thoughts. And I became in love with vocabulary. Even my mother, when I, may have needed to be disciplined, believe it or not. But yes, she would have me read the dictionary, and it would be 12 words, and within the week or 2 weeks, if I did not memorize all of them, and then I would remain grounded. That's just how it was. So, but it was something that it was a sort of a punishment that most certainly was made to benefit me in a long run. So, and it
And
did.
And can I just say, like your remark earlier was you made was such a poignant point on how much you've embraced these disabilities you had when you were talking about the perfumes they were asking about earlier, and you said, "I'm blind and deaf," and you're talking about something that affects one sense. Give me a break.
Exactly. I mean,
So
it's beautiful. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is challenging constantly creating a fragrance or anything, and that's not to downplay the creativity, but a lot of those things I started just to lose my passion over because there's real stuff going on in real life. And the truth of the matter is, people just don't have that luxury all the time to create fragrances and those sorts of things, and the opportunity to become a character and those challenges of becoming an actor. And that's not where the life is. I'm going to be honest. It's just not where life is. When you go into the actual communities and see what people are struggling with, entertainment becomes exactly that's what it is. It's entertainment. And I'm grateful for those many artists and creators that was able to come on my show because they entertained us for many years to be able to get our minds off of the real issues. And I'm just grateful that I was able to see both sides. Honestly, it's been pretty surreal.
it's
Yeah.
really cool. Like I said earlier, when you work with people with disabilities, you're constantly gaining a new perspective on things. And it opens up your mind, but not only that, it can soften your heart, or it can rather in an equivalent way guide you to a way of thinking that is comforting to those people, that makes them feel more accepted, or alters your actions so you're not inadvertently hurting them.
Right.
And it's about being aware. When you're aware and you pay attention to these things going on, people say, "Oh, it's so much work to keep up with all the different needs of people nowadays." No, it's not. Just stay aware. Stay aware. The human body is a wonderful, amazing thing that can do things subconsciously. If you just stay aware, you'll pick up on these things. That's it. End story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. And it really brings me just so much joy because now I get to enjoy journalism without the facade of trying to, because the only reason I was trying to hide my disability and things because there were no examples of that. I didn't see people on magazine covers with hearing aids, or though I didn't hear of those stories. So for me to have made history as the first I realized, of course, it was almost like time was just waiting for me to be able to own it. And with journalism being around since the 17th century, I think, of course, there had been many that had most certainly participated in the field of journalism. But what may have happened was what I was going to do, which was to give up and to quit or to retire. And I just chose not to. And I was going to, because of course, if you know the field of journalism, it pretty much is a zoo out there on the red carpets and interview. It's such a grind. And with a disability, no one cares. Especially, I'm going to be very real that, especially as a person of color, already that was just enough. I've actually went up to red carpet and I've been turned away because a lot of people thought that Stephen McCoy on paper is an Irish person, or whatever. I've gotten those. I've been on a phone call like with people that have witnessed this. Even one of the journalists that covered, I was so grateful for her covering the event, the anniversary event, and she wanted to because she saw me from a person who was absolutely, all over that red carpet, and to actually being confused and not understanding what's happening with me, to then actually coming back and seeing what's happening, and it just was, it really has been a long journey, but I'm so grateful that I now know what's happening, and I'm able to now advocate for those things, and advocate for what I need, accessibility. All of those things are very important.
Lefty, you wanted to say something?
Who are some of your biggest guests on your podcast?
Ooh, that's a good one. So many. I mean, we've had Queen Latifah. We've had even our former first daughter, Chelsea Clinton. I really enjoyed interviewing Whoopi Goldberg. That was a very beautiful and amazing interview, and I want to elaborate why. Because when I was younger, I used to walk in the hallways with my classmates, and I would always see they would have all of the Black history leaders on the wall, and they would all be in black and white. And Whoopi Goldberg was one of the ones that were always smiling, but I always enjoyed her movies and her films. And my grandmother told me that Whoopi had a disability. So when I heard that, I'm like, wow, I don't see any hearing aids in her ear. But that's when I learned that disabilities comes in all forms. And Whoopi, she has a disability, and anytime I walked in that hallway and I just used to see her smiling, and I would smile and I would say to myself, I one day want to be on that wall. And literally, funny enough, this year during Black History Month, one of the schools, actually, I was honored by two schools, one in Brooklyn, New York, with the School for the Deaf in Brooklyn, and then there was another school in North New Jersey, and they had all of my stuff on their wall, and that's just so crazy to me that that now I am a part of just being a historian, but I was able to speak with Whoopi about that, and she was just very touching and said some extremely deep and kind words to me. So I enjoyed that. I even Fat Joe. I don't know if you guys know Fat Joe. Yeah, yeah. Fat Joe was crazy. Was he knew who I was, and this was my first time interviewing him. And when I interviewed him, he said that he knew who I was because his brother follows my career. Why? Because his brother is blind. So I was just like, I thought that was just so insane, and just thinking how I felt like I had to hide just to fit in where I just did not simply belong. So yeah, those were like really cool people. I think that were
Fat Joe is a cool one. Fat Joe, I that perked my dog ears up. I love that one. That's a good one.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I guess I have to ask what I have a tattoo on my arm, and it basically it's in another it's in a fan language of a Magic set, but it basically says, "Do not let your detriments be your weakness." You seem to have very much adopted that mentality of yourself, but I want to know, what point in your life did you start drawing strength from your disabilities? Did you find?
I would say I know.
It sounds like right out of college, right?
But I would say, which is crazy, it was more so just a few years. I would say in 2021. In 2021, because I started getting a lot of recognition, I would say in mid 2019 and 2020, those stories were just out there, but I was still very nervous, a lot of relationships has failed due to my disability. Other people not knowing how to react to it. And of course they didn't, because I didn't know how to react to it. I didn't know what I needed when going into restaurants, and I'm just not knowing. So it was important to get the training that I needed, the mobility training, knowing what works for me. Just sitting in restaurants, you know how you have you'll go to a restaurant and you will see you have the window behind you, right? I used to love just sitting there and the window be in front of me because I love great views of nature. However, that won't work for me if you're the person that's sitting in front of me, because I'm seeing you in silhouette. So now I have to sit the other way, where the sun and the light is shining on your face. So it was all a learning experience of what will work for me. So sometimes when I'm out with family and friends, I'm just like, hey, let me switch over here. Let's see. I want to see if I can hear you on this side, or I want to see, if I can see you if you move on this side. Whatever works for me. And the people that truly love and cared about me actually participate in those. And I mean, honestly, we're all human. I always say, hey, there's so many different groups and different, you have so many different groups you can be a part of, but those groups may be by choice, those groups may be by religion, those groups may be by your political party, but there's only one group that you're able to join for free, and that would be the disability community. And I would say, because we all grow and get older, and there's also babies that are born every single day with different issues that are happening. So this is a community that you want to, when accidents happen, God forbid, but there are accidents that happen. You may trip down the stairs. You never know what can happen. And then you end up needing an accessible path for your car or something like that, whatever works for you. So this is a community that we should all advocate for, that we should all get involved with. It's almost like, paying your insurance, making sure that you are secured, even life insurance. If it's one thing that we know out of anything, any bill that is going to be worth paying off will be your life insurance, because that's what we know it's going to actually happen. So you can't escape it. even with certain blind individuals, I would say even just getting older, that is something that allows your vision to decrease sometimes. So let's continue to advocate because if ever we have to cross that bridge, guess what? We have all fought for this, and there's accessibility, and there's accommodation, and there's awareness, so that people are can treat us with love, respect, all of those sorts of things. Really important.
And I'm glad you touched on a certain point earlier that I'd like to bring up, the fact that we're all human. I've come to this point within the past couple of years where I've looked back on instances where, whether it be at school or really any dealings with my autism at play, I look through the passage of how the events happen and what happened specifically, and 90% of the times I'm able to excuse it for the fact that they're a human being. They're a human being that was doing a job that they weren't trained for. No one knew much about autism at that point. There's several points, and you know what? It sounds like to some people some people would be like, "Oh, you're making excuses for people." No, you're seeing that there's a variety of variances and instances that can lead to your discomfort, and not all of them come out of malice or personal spite. It's human beings being human beings. And while you could probably say, yes, they could have prepared themselves better or this or that, it's done.
That's 100% a fact. And one thing I just want to say that for me that has been a challenge is, in the beginning when I was diagnosed, a lot of people used to say, well, at least you don't look like you have a disability. And I'm just like, and finding the positive. That's what they were trying to do, find whatever the positive is in this situation. And I then started to say, oh, yeah, you're right. At least I don't look like I have a disability, until that actually worked against me.
Yeah.
That's when it happened. When
people don't believe you.
Yeah, when people don't believe me, but also when I'm in a lounge and I'm on tour in Oklahoma and I'm making my way out of the venue because I don't know where my videographer is, at the time, and I'm making my way out, and I guess I'm bumping into people and someone punches me in the face. And I couldn't not, I was just like, it was humiliating. It was embarrassing. And I just know that if someone put their hand on me, of course, naturally, I want to defend myself and I want to see who did it. And there was a 4 second, literally, if I could put myself in a moment, I wanted to swing on anybody because I don't know. It was just kind of like
you're in defense. You don't know what's going on. It's that sporadic, like I'm gonna take that really brief instinctive moment of reaction. Just go nope, everyone away from me. I need to make sure I'm clear for about 5 feet.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what it was. And what I did was I saw a beautiful lady. I ran over to her and I was like, hey, ma'am, like I am actually blind. Can you please help me get out of here? And she did. She was gracious enough to walk me out. She held my hand and everything. I should have got her number, but but it was that night was very it was just a lot for me. Just me as a man, of course, I want to be able to defend myself, but it was dark in there, so I didn't know. And I wish people could just have known. There was a time I was in Ocean City, Maryland, and me and 2 other friends, we were going into, again, a lounge area, and I bumped into it. Was, it's kind of funny when I think about it, but I bumped into a pole. I walked into a pole, and they were just like, "Oh, what happened?" You know, they didn't. We just didn't know. But I bumped into a pole, and the security guard at the entrance happened to have seen that, I suppose. But we were going through security, and I didn't hear what they were saying because I didn't have my hearing aid. My hearing aid had died or something. I don't know, but I didn't have my hearing aids for some reason, and but it was very loud in there. It was a lot of music, just very loud. I didn't hear that they were telling me wait 1 second or something, and then I'm still, when you're going through the security, you have to put your wallet and things in a little bowl or whatever. Yeah. And when I started to look for it, but I wasn't hearing that they were trying to instruct me. So they grabbed my arm and literally tossed me out. And I'm like, wait, what is happening? What's going on? What I'm not understanding. And they did tell me that you're drunk. And I'm like, what do you mean that I'm drunk? I didn't drink anything. Honestly, that was my goal for the night, but I did not. Yeah, it was. I mean, just in all transparency, but no, I was so hurt. I was so hurt because I couldn't believe. And then the security guard, I'm so glad that he told me they saw you walk into the pole. And then I told them because at this point I still didn't feel comfortable with telling my disability. And although my two friends, they just kind of got lost. Like they did come back, but they just thought that I was behind them. So
Right.
it was things like those lessons I was able to now when I'm going out with friends. Hey, you got to make sure that I'm good. Like you got to be my extra eyes and ears. Those are things that I would need when going out. If you don't want that responsibility, not that it may be too much because I still know now how to advocate for myself, but if you can't look out for me, then we're not going out. That's just it. So
And that very much reminds me. I think I've told this story on the cast before. This was a very perspective. You'll definitely appreciate this story. Um, it was a perspective teaching moment for me, and definitely in a moment that taught me of awareness. When I was in high school, boarding school, we had a robotics team where we would travel to different facilities throughout the state and compete in different events, hoping to climb the ladder, yada yada yada. So it was our first event that we had gone to ever since forming the team. I was ambitious. I was eager. I was ready to go meet people and talk to people and spread the team name and everything. So I got, a bag of pins and pit labels and everything. And I go to the first table I see, and I get within not right in front of them, but to the point where you feel like, you're not hovering on top of them so they can still hear you. And I start talking. I realize they're not responding. They're not even looking at me or anything like that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to actually go right in front of them. There's no confusion at all. So I go right in front of them. I have all this stuff. And as soon as I open my mouth, I read the school's name. And it was not exactly this, but rough and about the Connecticut School for the Deaf.
oh wow.
Very sobering moment for me as a teenager to also have the whole team witness that too.
Yeah.
But again, autism is a disability of social unawareness. It was a climb I was still making as a child.
Yeah. What's so interesting? So we have our heroes that some of them have autism, but it's so interesting. I don't know. I may have a gift for communication but I just don't see any difference. I really don't. There are some of my students that have speech impairments and things of that nature, but I can still understand. I think what it is that human beings just need to learn to just simply be patient. You have to have patience for anything to work. Even if we're talking about your own personal relationship with your husband or wife, or your children, your family members, your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, your co-hosts. If you have patience and understanding, that will most certainly, you have to listen. Yeah, I think, because a lot of people even ask me about my journalism and what is, how do you do this or do that? And I always just say, I think it's just really important to listen. You have to listen and you have to be patient. If you don't have patience, I don't think anything is going to work. Anything.
That's the thing. There's a grand part of the society who thinks that patience is not something they need to work on. That it's a mentality that started brewing within 2015. That it's like, if you like me for who I am, or hit the bricks, in combination with throwing out people that they didn't think were so woefully efficient to the contribution of their life. Pair that with bad leadership over starting in 2016. And the society is going to react. It's just plain and simple. So I definitely agree with you there. You cannot do anything as far as being a neighbor, brother, family member, whatever, a functioning fellow member of society, if you are not patient.
Yeah.
Stephen, everyone gets this question. Have you ever tried cannabis? And if you have, how old were you? And what was the experience like for you?
Uh-oh. Have I ever tried that? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I did. I think I did. I think it was cannabis. Yeah. In Las Vegas, I was over the age of 21, in case anyone sees this. But
Right.
yeah, I did. And what was the follow-up question?
How was your experience the first time you tried it?
Well, I waited. I waited until it was legal to do it. And yeah, when my first experience, do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Well, actually, what's crazy? I always felt that I was very clairvoyant. And I had an experience where it felt like I was memorizing or remembering everything ever in my whole entire life. It was almost like, even when one of my cousins, she told me, just lay down. And I did. And when I put the covers over me to lay down, and we were in Las Vegas at the time, it was like I remembered every single moment that I felt comfortable, from the time where the doctor delivered me to, I swear, I could have been delusional. However, I really feel like I remembered everything. It was something like that. I really was. And I got really hungry. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
let
That
me
leads
ask
me to
you,
my
because-
second question. What's your favorite munchie food?
Well, I think it might have been Chinese food. Yeah. I think it might have been Chinese food. Yeah. And I would never forget that time when we were in Las Vegas, and it was a friend and I, we were like, literally, we looked at each other and we were laughing at something, and we're like, ha 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 ha, and then we just stopped, and then we like, whatever. We just, I don't know. It was just like it hit us at the same time, and it felt like we were in, rather than a hotel, that we were like on a Titanic boat, literally. But we had a great time. That's all I can say. We had a great time.
That's what matters. Let me ask you something, because you brought this point up earlier, and I thought it's always been comical to me, that point you said about, like, well, you don't look like you have a disability. Like, one of my favorite things to do is not bring up I have a disability, because when that point comes up in conversation and people start saying, like, bad mouthing disabilities or saying this or that, and I say, well, I have autism, and it's usually fun to watch them go, do you? So on that point, I'd like to ask, because you've shared a couple so far, but what's the, I guess, to you personally, the most outlandish kind of statement or assumption that has been made about your disability you've heard? whether it be offensive or comical?
Let me see. I mean, it was just more so of just people just making the assumption that, like, literally, even this was yesterday, just yesterday. I had to go into New York City um, to do some paperwork, and I had to go into this office. I went into the office, and the person at the front desk, they wanted my IDs, and I gave them my ID. And after they returned it, they said, the elevator is this way. And I told them, I said, I'm actually blind. Are you able to just tell me exactly where? Because I won't be able to see it. And he's like, see, it's right over there. Whatever. That's what he said. So I started walking, and I walked into this little glass thing. And he's like, no, you can't walk over there. I said, sir, well, I did tell you that I was blind. I did tell you that. And I said that out loud in front of his coworker and whomever that she was assisting as well. And he then did actually, kind of guide me. But I just think maybe when I tell people, they just don't simply believe me all the way. And I guess I can get it because I've been there before. I've been in those shoes before. I remember I was at one of my family members' house when I was younger, and there was a guy who would get on this transportation bus, which is now later, I believe, called Access Link. And we would just be like, if he's blind, well, how can he turn this way? How could he even know exactly, where the bus is? How is, and I can get that, but we're now breaking the stereotype that blind, it is actually very a short percentage of those who can simply just see black or just see white. There's just impairment there. So there's actually more of a lower percentage. Some people, they wear shades, and the shades actually help them to see just a little bit better because sometimes the light, it can blind them even more. So they're still blind, but blindness is a spectrum, and most people just don't
They wear the
understand that.
glasses to protect protect the remaining vision that they do have, or to prevent further damage to their eyes.
That is a reason for some, because there's so many different eye conditions, but then there are some that it may be too shiny for them and they won't be able to see anything. So the shade kind of balances the light where they're able to see even the contrast. If they're walking across the street, they know to step down simply because now that shade has allowed them to be able to kind of just see things a lot better versus when if they wasn't to have shade on, it would be too shiny for them to even see that it's time for them to step off the curb or step up the curb or something like that. So it's like I said, blindness is a spectrum, and when a person don't wear a cane, they don't carry a cane, you still should absolutely believe that the person. I mean, who wants to be blind? And there is a stereotype that sometimes when people are blind and they seem like they have great navigation, that they're trying to gain something like financial gain or something. It's like, what? What?
Have you ever seen The Anchorman 2?
I don't
heard of the movie before.
I've heard no, absolutely. I've heard of it.
There's this excellent scene where he has been blinded and he's sitting in his home and everyone's asking him to do things, and they're talking to him about things that have nothing to do with his sight or even him having used his sight, and he just goes, "I can't. I'm blind."
Yeah, I've been there.
Not like
Steve, I have a question. Can you see anything at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're the one with the glasses asking me this,
Yeah.
right?
No, I was gonna say because it was like because it was like maybe you're blind, so you can't. So I know some people like you said, it's a spectrum. Some people can see, some people can't. But
No,
if
yeah.
you have good eye contact, like you're looking at us, like I can see. You know Ray Charles. He's looking both ways because maybe he can't see
Right,
at all.
right.
You're not like that. So, but
No, yeah, actually, digitally, I can see so much better. Why? Because this is such a clear picture. For example, if I, let's say if I'm in a unfamiliar place, um, what I'm doing is and it's very dim, I might pull out my phone and go through my camera. I'll go to my camera, and when I go to my camera, the camera lenses is a lot better than my actual lenses. So I'm looking through the lenses of the iPhone camera, which is so much better than mine. So digitally, it's so much better than my actual vision. With Usher syndrome, it causes something called retinitis pigmentosa, which creates more like darker or more silhouette vision sometimes when it comes to people. So yeah, that's what that is. It's more like a lighting deficiency. As
that's
long as
really good that
there's
you
light.
can see a little bit because I'm not blind, but I mean I like seeing the colors. I like seeing the sky. I like seeing. So I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I'm happy you can see a little bit. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Especially
Yeah.
up close. You know what I mean?
Yes, for sure. Even from afar, I can see. Sometimes, actually, let's just say if someone is too close, or if someone's coming like direct, like for example, if we're going to the airport or to a Penn station, like a train station, what I try to do is if it's such a crowded space like that, and everyone is going like this. I make sure to stay toward the wall where it's easier for me to kind of navigate when I'm staying close to the wall rather than being in the middle where everyone is kind of just going around each other. And it's so surreal because when I was younger in New York City and being an intern and those sorts of things, I would be working even from my BlackBerry, looking at my BlackBerry and just moving and navigating like that, where I didn't even have to look up at the crowd. I don't know, but only New Yorkers really know how that is. But now I actually have to, of course, pay attention because I have bumped into people, and that's not always a good thing.
Well, I remember you were talking about the security guard because, they didn't know you were deaf or blind.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at you, you look like a normal person to me. So, like, I can understand maybe where they're coming from. And that's like brings light onto me. Like, well, you really don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing is, we have to get to an understanding that I don't think there really is a thing as normal. Like, it's not really a thing because we're all different, but it's so important to just really understand that, and yeah, I guess, I don't know what people kind of expect sometimes because they're like, well, you're looking at me or your eyes, but it comes in so many. I met a guy at an event in December, I think it was December, and my god brother, who's actually also my SSP, he was like, "Are you talking about the guy with the green blazer?" And I'm just like, "Oh no, right there with the pink blazer." and my godbrother, yes, he had a pink blazer, but the guy was and it wasn't a blind event. It was just a nonprofit convention. And yeah, so he was colorblind, which was just so surreal. So he could still see better than me, but because it wasn't any lighting deficiency with him, it just was a different color. That's it. So it's So
Can
weird.
you be too sexy for your disability? Is that the question?
Too sexy, you said?
Too sexy for your disability.
I have no I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's I did say before that I feel that disability should also be something that there should be some sort of campaign. Maybe I'll create something like that, a campaign where, people can be also very well attractive and show disability in a light. Because I was speaking with a friend and she's single, and a lot of people just don't look at disability as something sexy, and that is it's a whole conversation in itself. Because some people would be interested into you, but then when they find out that there is some sort of challenge there, they're almost thinking that you might die in 2 days, so they don't want to be in a relationship with you. And it's like, wait, it's just some sort of blindness there. That's all.
There's
Don't be scared.
I'd like to interject that there's a reason that there's an MS group in New Jersey simply called "But You Look So Good." That's the name of the group. Because
oh wow, really?
Having been married to a woman with MS, but she's in a wheelchair and I married her, but she still looked good. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, extremely. But so, I got to kind of see through that lens. And then, of course, not really long after, it became quite obvious. But even then, it was a game-changing experience. And so I really enjoyed through that lens everything I've been hearing,
Yeah.
And
I just gotta say real quick, because I gotta jump off for a Zoom call. I just want to give my send off real quick. Steven, again, my Instagram's on here. I hope you reach out. I'm a full throttle, just into everything you're doing, even what you were just talking about before. And you blew me away with your story. Obviously, I was touched. It really just gave me the kind of perspective I need at the moment. So I thank you, and
thank you.
I hope to hear from you guys. I will touch you guys on Thursday. I gotta get on a Zoom call.
Thank you so much,
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I was definitely moved by your story as well, brother.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to be investigating. I'm going to be looking into you. I got to tell you.
Please do.
I got notes. I got a short memory, but that might have seen doing this the entire time is seriously fascinating. By the way, Lefty does ask everybody over a long period of time, was like the first time you smoked, and tell me something about it. Best answer ever. This was like yours stood above all else. It was like everything about it was.
Thank you so much.
It's just fascinating. And, also seeing for some people, once their disability becomes obvious, it gives them great power because other people don't know what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the strength beside the obvious, which you can really sneak up on people. I don't know if you'll remember the name Cheryl Miller, but if you looked up Cheryl Miller, medical marijuana, New Jersey or something like that, you'd find out really quick what I'm talking about. So somehow you were like an amazing exclamation point in a whole nother way.
Oh, wow.
Was so powerfully close to that, not like intersecting exactly.
Yeah.
But Oh, and by the way, I swear I would talk about your voice in the beginning, and people would recognize it, and I'm convinced that I would recognize your voice at my funeral.
Yeah, I do. I swear I almost kind of hate it because I swear I literally was on a T-Mobile call and someone was like, "Wait a minute, it's Stephen McCoy, the journalist Stephen McCoy," and I'm like, I had to hang up. I was just like, "Oh my god, I don't." I'm learning to respond to these sorts of responses, and being recognized, not only, of course, by faith, because even right now, when I'm out at different events, it's almost more like, wait a minute, I know you, those sorts of things, and then it becomes, wait a minute, the deafblind journalist. So it is very interesting. And of course, because I don't do any of this it's not like a self-serving thing. I've tried to, oh, my headphones came out, but I try to hide my disability for most of my life. So now to be in a space where it's just, I guess I've done the self care, I've done the work, and of course, every day is something new because I'm dealing with a debilitating. Hi. I'm dealing with a debilitating eye disease. So yeah, absolutely. So, and of course, I have dreams like anyone else. I have desires like anyone else. Like I hope to one day, have my kids jumping on in a Zoom and things of that nature. I mean, it really is a beautiful community, because I've always loved people. I love people. I love people. Yeah, there are not so great people out there. But I mean, you can be the change that you want to see. That I know for a fact. And one person can't exactly maybe change the world, but one person can absolutely contribute to a change.
I refer to it metaphorically as leaving a footprint. We're all here for a certain amount of time. When we're gone, is it like we never existed? For most people, it is. But some leave a footprint that just lasts forever. You are leaving a huge footprint, my friend. You really are.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I like your whole story, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's be honest.
Thank you.
We should be thanking you.
We are thanking you. What's your website, Stephen? Give me a website.
Yes, my website is spokenheroes.org. So www.spokenheroes.org. And please, if you can, there's a support button if you care to support it in any way. But no matter what, that support isn't just in monetary. That support is also in just sharing, sharing because truthfully, these college students are actually, I was just so proud. And you guys are going to see, because I'm going to post it. They're the journalists, they came to record the whole event. And just the speeches that my hero, that was one of the most highlighted, because they never really taught. They would just talk. But I had a microphone in a classroom, and the microphone was my accessibility, not necessarily theirs. So they had to learn to project their voice simply for me to understand and hear them. And they did such a great job. They really had come a long way. One of my heroes, he worked at a grocery store, and they tried to, and this is the one I believe I mentioned, and he need his phone to memorize things, to remind him of things, and they tried to take that away because they didn't want him. They felt like he was just kind of just on his phone for other reasons. And that wasn't the case. It really wasn't. And they tried to terminate him. And we were a part of, just trying to make that change. And he was able to get his job back, thankfully. But and that's another thing. Just what we, in our training, we train the ADA so that they are able to know their rights. That's very important. Because once you know your rights, you're going to walk the hallways and into interviews and things of that nature very confidently.
Stephen, thank you so much. Spokenheroes.org. Check them out.
Yeah. Thank you.
we're going to end our podcast. You want to stick around with us? We have a list that we go through here at the end. I'll explain that in a second.
Absolutely.
First, we have. I want to thank Mad Hatter for having us here at this beautiful dispensary. Come over to Mad Hatter. It's 845 Route 1, Avenel. Great dispensary. We have great events here. April 5th coming up. We have Earth Day coming up. Huge days coming up. Come check us out. Specials every day. Rob, thank you. I'm not. I work with. They're all crazy here. It's the Mad Hatter for a reason because they're all mad here, and there's a sign up. It's great. So thank you, Mad Hatter. They've been very gracious having us here, and thank you. Thank you. CMMNJ, UFCW, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, and SativaCross.org. We have a 501c3 as well, where we fight for disability rights and for cannabis patients' rights.
Love that.
So our list begins with Jim's late wife, Cheryl.
What list is that?
This is our list of people that have passed on. It's our friends and family that are still waiting for legal cannabis or that used legal cannabis during their life. And it's a very sad list. It's helpful, hurtful, hopeful, all at different times. Sometimes it makes me angry. Sometimes it makes me sad. Today, I'm not sure, but I put Cheryl's name on top. Why is Cheryl's name on top, Jim? You tell us.
Well, she was the first one in New Jersey to be very vocal and identify herself as a medical cannabis user, as illegal as it was in 1993 in New Jersey to do that. So she kind of became the face of people who were looking. And then, she went on to become a great fan of Rosa Parks and decide to do something similar, which was go to Washington with the purpose of getting arrested for using her medicine in the congressman's office. Anyway, the list follows by so many people that didn't live long enough to see fruits of their labor. And you're breaking up just a little bit with me. I don't know if it's here or here occasionally, but anyway, yeah. And the list is because people forget the seriousness. It's cannabis. How long has it been? Hey, you got any samples? When you were advocating, that was always, and I understand that, but it was always with us, and for me especially, extremely personal. And that it affects whole families, not just the people, who are patients. And it's so good for them. So, Cheryl could overcome the stereotype and open up doors, reclining wheelchair, when she advocated in Washington. And that opened the doors. And she realized that the sicker she got, the stronger, the weaker she got, the stronger her power of advocacy was. And she used that till not the day she died, but within 6 weeks. Well, actually, no, the day she always wore a shirt identifying herself in the hospital. I'm a medical marijuana user. I didn't like the phraseology, but, she liked the shirt. So anyway, but there's so many more. And this is to make people feel like shit when we're done after a good podcast. Take away a little extra sadness. I don't know that you, Stephen, need that or anybody really, but for people who are watching it, and it doesn't matter who the names are, and they don't have to be represented. Sometimes one gets singled out by left ear me after this, but it's much like reading off the names of the victims of the World Trade Center once a year. Somehow uttering their name out loud keeps them alive.
Cheryl inspired me because when I met her, I didn't know about medical cannabis. I just thought it gave people the munchies. And I said, okay, it helps cancer patients because it gives you the munchies. I said, okay, that's fine. No, then I saw Cheryl, and I saw how when Jim would give her the cannabis, her muscles went from stiff, where she couldn't move, and rigid, to where he was able to exercise her and move her arms and help her. And I was like amazed. And I found out about the endocannabinoid system because of Cheryl, and I totally changed my perspective on medical cannabis and my activism, because I just wanted it legal because I knew the government lied to me all those years. But now, after seeing Cheryl, I knew they really, really, really lied to me. And I'm like, no, this is no good. So we had to. So Cheryl's on our list, number one.
I got to hop off, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
All right,
Lefty.
all right.
Thank you for having me. It was an amazing story, Stephen. I really enjoyed
you.
having you on the as a guest on the Lefty show. This is amazing.
Thank you. Add me on social media. I would love to follow you.
Definitely will, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Have a nice one, guys. Bye.
Yeah,
So anyway,
this is
zip through it, you know.
Sabina Rose is a 15-month-old baby. She died from a 25-hour seizure, waiting for her cannabis card in the mail.
Epilepsy.
Dravet syndrome. Yeah, I couldn't imagine having a 10-minute seizure. She had a 25-hour seizure. That's Diane, Gracie, Cindy Mae, Marie, Jack, Joan, Randy, Polly, Bill, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ, Roger Barber. We love Roger Barber. Jay Arletto, Ella Bagelman, Hattie Koshel, Jackie, Anthony, Jake, Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte, Cher, Jaybird, Michael, Marley, Colette, Brendan, Red, Rico, Lou, Becky, Lawanda, Chip, Paul, Lisa, Marcus, Gary, Julia, and Jeff Oakes, who used to go to these council meetings with us fighting for our rights. And he would have stage 4 cancer, and he would be fighting sometimes with a chemo bag strapped to his hip, sometimes feeling so sick that he wanted to just throw up in the council meeting, but he wanted to speak because the sicker he got, the more powerful he got, and he knew it. And that's sad that we live in that state that we have to be sick to get what we want. We have to parade sick, dying, and disabled people in front of committees to get things, like a dog and pony show. Hey, Senator, can I have it for my disease? Hey, Senator, why are senators making healthcare decisions for sick and dying and disabled people? Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen, that was amazing. I absolutely amazing to be on.
Genuinely, yeah, genuinely.
And
thank you, guys, so much. Thank you.
I will see you at the next Lions Club meeting, because the Lions Club is an amazing group.
Oh, and you know, we talked about you're also very recognizable because, like, right away when I looked and I said, "Oh, that's that guy who I listened to the Lions Club meeting I just saw." You know, I mean, you know, very. So this has been fascinating, and we have a lot of fascinating guests. We really do. But this is like off in another direction entirely, and is so fitting to be on this particular podcast here. You know.
Yeah.
No, this you definitely belonged on his podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
definitely, I enjoyed being on here, and I hope to possibly find a home as a reoccurring guest.
Oh, you kidding me? You kidding me? I'll be bugging you every week, bro.
Yeah,
I would love it. I would love it.
I consider that a promise, by the way.
Yeah. We end the show like this. It's not a prayer. People think it's a prayer.
No.
It's a saying that
No,
I watch a lot of rugby.
Let's do it.
The Ode to Remembrance?
It's called the Ode to Remembrance. And
Yeah.
it's said overseas. And I really felt it really matched our activism.
Yeah.
How we
Well, it was for the fall in World War I. It was generally attributed and directed at Great Britain, United States, France, and Australia. So that was read like at remembrances yearly, I guess, you know. And so he does read that. It describes it very well, but coincidentally, we found that after a year, it was also literally engraved in stone in Trenton, the War Memorial Auditorium in Trenton, the fourth stanza, over a door there. So anyway,
we do activism in Trenton all the time, and we're at the State House every month. We're at the State House protesting.
Going on
And
11 years now.
It was the 11 years, and it was literally in stone on a block
Right,
over.
yeah.
I'm like, wow, we've been
Yeah.
saying this for years. This is
Yep.
great.
So go for it, man.
But it's the second. We're going to do 2 stanzas. It goes like
Yeah.
this. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Jim.
All right.
you.
See you
It's been
guys.
great.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
So